Greetings everybody. Today I'm going to go ahead and show you how to use WeakOrs in a very basic format. First, we're going to go over creating an icon. Then we're going to go ahead and take that icon, set up the display for it, and we're going to go ahead and review the triggers as well as the conditions for what we want to have display. With that all being said, let's move into it. This is your basic WeakOrs screen. What we're going to do is we're going to select New, from Template, and then we're going to select Icon because that is the standard that you want to work with. I prefer going with the huge icon, the 64, because it will be easy to see and you can manipulate it later. Now we have to choose what we want to display. In this case, we're going to do an ability called Death and Decay. Now we're going to have to go ahead and pick what we want to do with this ability. In most cases, you're going to want to choose cooldown tracking because it will keep up at all times and you can manipulate it through conditions. Give it a name and go to the Display tab. In the center of the screen, you're going to notice the icon. It'll have your standard action bar look with the cooldown timer and everything. What we want to do is move it. One of the first things you'll notice is the lock symbol. That's not an actual lock, that means it's where it's anchored to. In this case, you can see it's anchored to the center of the screen and goes out this far down. Within the display section, we can go ahead and change the icon if we'd like. By default, it picks whatever the trigger has. The trigger has Death and Decay. I'm not a fan of roses. I want something that stands out more, so I'm going to deselect automatic and I'm going to search for an icon. Skulls are looking good to me here, so I'm going to select the cup because skull cup, why not? So now I have a skull cup for my Death and Decay. The cooldown section basically shows you what's going on down there. You can take and turn that on and off as you wish. For right now, we will leave it on. The glow effect is basically procs. So, with it turned on, that's what it would look like. With it turned off, that's what it would look like. We will come back to that later in the conditions. The text setting is what's displayed on the icon itself. If you notice in the bottom right, there is a little 1. That there is the amount of stacks that we have. Now Death and Decay does not utilize stacks, so in this case we're going to turn that off and we're going to make it a progress. To do that, we go over here where it says %S. When you mouse over, you can get all this little pop-up, but you can click in there and we're going to change the S to a P. Now you'll see that it shows a timer. Under general text settings, we can change that timer to be full integers, which is a little easier to work with. Now we can change some basic settings like where it's located, how big it is, visual style. I think that works pretty good. I'm going to make it yellow though. Now that we've got the visual set up for the cooldown, we're going to go ahead and check out Zoom. If you scroll this over, you're going to see it zooms the icon in and out. Now there's a little silver bar around it that there is the icon window from all your standard icons. Going about 28 to 30% will remove that. So if you don't like that, you want something more square, do 30%. In the position area, you'll see the width and the height of the icon itself. By default, I chose 64 by 64. I'm going to make it 60 by 60. Do ensure you hit enter after you change a number, otherwise it will not take. The X offset and the Y offset means how far from the center of the screen is this icon. So we can see it's over by 106, down by 438. For the triggers, the only thing I'm really going to go over here is the understanding of what you're looking at. In this case, we're looking at a status of a cooldown progress for a spell that is named Death and Decay. There's a lot that you can do here. You can change this up for most anything, but in this case, this is what we want to work with. The last part of here I want to show you is the section that says Show. Herein, you can actually see it says Show Always, but you can choose to show this icon only when it's on cooldown or when it's not on cooldown. For purposes of what we're doing, we want to show it always. By default, you'll have some conditions in there. I just delete them. And now that they're deleted, we're going to go ahead and create new conditions. These are basically if-then statements. This is the if statement we're going to work with. If this is on cooldown, we want to desaturate it and shrink it. And this is how you would write it. If on cooldown equals true, then desaturate, turn it on, add another property, add the width and height, and we'll leave it at 32 by 32. Make it really small. Now this reads, if it is on cooldown, yes, then desaturate and shrink it to 32 by 32. Now, we're going to add the condition for when we're in combat, but it's not on cooldown. I want a visual alert. If a combination of all of these sub-items, we're going to select global condition of in combat, true, and we're going to select on cooldown, but this time false. So if both of these match, so in combat, not on cooldown, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to give it some glow settings. In this case, we're going to do the glow visibility, the glow type, we're going to use a custom color, and we're going to give it a glow color. I'm going to select a nice orange because I think that'll catch my attention. Again, this reads, if all of these conditions are true, so if in combat true and on cooldown false, then we're turning on the glow. It's going to be the action bar highlight. We're going to go ahead and we're say yes to a color, and the color is going to be orange. Now that we've got this all done, let's save it and let's test it. The minute I engage combat here, you're going to see this light up. And there it is. Now let's use the ability. Watch as it shrinks. You can see behind there the icon is super small. It gives me the countdown timer the way I want it. So we're going to speed this up. Alright, we're down to the last few seconds. Watch the icon. Boom. There it is. And now, if we stop fighting this guy and we run away, see how the icon stopped glowing when I'm out of combat? That is how you use a weak aura. You can modify any of these settings at any point, but this is your first basic WeakAura. Next time we're going to go over some advanced settings, and we'll see if we can make something a little more complex. Again, thank you guys for watching and listening. If you have any questions and you know me personally, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, feel free to leave a comment below. Thanks for watching. Bye.